as we welcomed people back, as we're opening our doors to our new marquee on this Shabbat for Kolot, as we are spending more and more time coming back together. We sing from Hine Matov, how good and how pleasant it is when we come back together, and then we make our way through Kabbalat Shabbat as we turn to our shul sheets.
Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim. Oy 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 shevet achim, shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim oy achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim. Oy 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim oy achim gam yachad. Oy 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim oy achim gam yachad. Lechun heranena, yai lai 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 lai, Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Nahariah, yai lai 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 lai, Letzoi Yisheinu, yai lai 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 lai, Nekad Mahavada, Betoda, Betoda, B'mirot Nariya lo, Nariya lo. Lechun heranena, Shabbat nekabela, boichala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela, boichala, boichala, boichala. Nachadodi, nachadodi, likatala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Nachadodi, nachadodi, likatala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boichala, boichala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boichala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boichala, boichala, boichala.
And here's the moment, if you have candles, to join me in lighting and saying the blessing together, which you can find on your shore sheet. And feel free to place your candles in view of your cameras if you want to share the light of your candles with everyone else this evening. And I don't need to do that because I've done this already. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Boichala, boichala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boichala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boichala, boichala, boichala. Nachadodi, nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Nachadodi, nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We're on page 121.
Nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shabbat
V'zachor b'dibur echad, tishmi'anu el-hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'litilam. Nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat nechu v'nechad, ki makor habaracha, merosh mikedem v'tzucha, sof na'aseh b'machshava tchila. Nachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela.
Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva oref, uri, 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 shir daveri, kavod Adonai alayich, miglan lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. V'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha u'betzola, toch emunei am segula, Shabbat nekabela, boi chala, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, Shabbat nekabela. As our building slowly reopens, as we continue to see more people and have more connection, we realize even more greatly those who are no longer with us, those who are no longer singing in Kabbalat Shabbat, those who are no longer sitting with us around our dinner tables. We take a moment to think of all those who come to this Shabbat in sadness, who are missing someone that they have lost. And we wish you the traditional words of consolation. Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch sha'ah ha'avilim. May the ever-present comfort you, together with all those who mourn. We turn to our psalm for the Shabbat day, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, on page 124. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. V'hagi בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. והגי בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר שמחה עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמחה עליון. להגיד בבוקר
asor va'ale navel, ale higayon bechinor, ki simachtani Adonai befo alecha, b'ma'aseh yadecha aranin. Ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai, me'od amku machshavotecha. Ish ba'ar lo yeda, uchsil lo yavin et zot. Bifroach v'shaim kamo esev, v'yatzitzu kol po'ale aven, lehisham dam adead. Ve'atam marom le'olam Adonai. Ki hine oivecha Adonai, ki hine oivecha yovedu, yitpardu kol po'ale aven. V'tarem kir'em karni beloti b'shemen ra'anan, v'tabit eni b'shurai, b'kamim alai, mireim tishmana oznai.
Tzadikatama Yifrach Ke'eres balvanon Yizkei Shetuli Beveit Adonai B'chatzot Rot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenun Veseva Deshenim Verananim Iyu Lehagi Suri Velo Avata
We will join together in our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, on page 127. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach.
We turn to our shul sheets to sing of the changing seasons along with Noam Pass.
Roll into dawn.
light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Yom Balayla, Goleh or mipnei choshech, Goleh or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Borei yom v'layla, Goleh or mipnei choshech, Goleh or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into night. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Roll into dark. Roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim.
And at the top of page 129. With everlasting love, you loved your people, the family of Israel, teaching and practice duty and justice. These you have taught us. Therefore, our God and guide, we think upon all this when we sleep and when we wake, and rejoice and delight in your teaching and its practice forever and ever. For they are our life and the measure of our days. We keep them in mind both day and night. Never take your love away from us. Blessed are you, God, who loves your people, Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue individually with the second paragraph of the Shema on page 132. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בציר תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. העושה גדולות עד אין חקר, ונפלאות עד אין מספר. וראו בניו גבורתו, שיבחו והודו לשמו, ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, גאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Source of our life and our sovereign, cause us to lie down in peace and rise again to enjoy life. Spread over us the covering of your peace, guide us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Be a shield about us, turning away every enemy, disease, violence, hunger, and sorrow. Remove the temptation that awaits us and the guilt that lies behind us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a God who guards and protects us, a ruler of mercy and compassion. Guard us when we go out and when we come in, to enjoy life and peace both now and forever. and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, God, spreading the shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over all the world. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We'll turn to our Amidah on page 140. I invite you to stand if you're comfortable. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Elohei Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov
Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם פוקד שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני,
מחיי מתים אתה רב והושיע.
מוריד
אתה מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה.
ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים,
ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה.
ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We will now continue with our Amidah to ourselves, and we'll join back together for our prayer for healing. We now turn our prayers towards those in our community in need of healing of body or healing of spirit. And as we do so, we turn to the words on our shul sheets, Ana elna refana la. God, please send healing. Ata Adonai, Rofe HaCholim.
We turn back into our Siddurim to page 149.
Say Shalom.
Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom bimroma, hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. So this weekend begins the competition that has been delayed for so long since last summer, the European Championships 2020 and now European Championships 2021. And this week, in the next few days, are also going to see Cornwall play host to the summit of the group of 7 countries, the G7, the 7 most economically influential liberal democracies of the world. And on the agenda will be particularly how the nations of the world can better cooperate on issues of healthcare in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. And the reason I mention both of those things that are happening in the next few days are that both require certain different types of leadership. The G7, obviously, the leaders of the countries coming to the UK to speak to one another, and the unenviable task that Gareth Southgate and other managing leaders within our national team have to take on the responsibility of leading the team out into that global competition. And I thought particularly of leadership this week when looking at our parashah, the parashah of Korach, the rebellion against Moses. And I want to consider the different models of leadership that they present. So let's first consider Moses and how he was elevated to the position of leader in the first place. At the burning bush, God presents Moses with the job of leading the Israelites out of Egyptian slavery. And Moses asks, Mi anochi ki elech el Paro? Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Moses is the kind of leader that the Greek philosopher Plato would have approved. In his Republic, Plato argues that the best rulers are the ones who do not want to be rulers, who do not want power. And this seems eminently virtuous, to be a philosopher king who rules through reason rather than through a sheer desire for power. And yet there's also a danger to this type of leadership, that it ultimately leaves the ruler with a disdain and a contempt for those they lead. Hence, in a few weeks' parashah, Moses' dismissal of the people as morons as he hits the rock to produce water. In this week's parashah, we're confronted with a different type of political leader in Korach, who is a Levite who challenges the rulership of Moses and Aaron, claiming that they have amassed too much power for themselves. Are we not all holy, they ask? Do we not all deserve power? Korach is certainly not, like Moses, a humble man who has greatness thrust upon him, the kind of man who asks, "Who am I to be able to do this?" Korach is clear and unapologetic in his pursuit of power. But there's a third model of leadership that's presented in this book of Numbers that we are reading at the moment in our annual cycle, and which is not usually articulated when we speak of the politics of Korach, and that is the figure of Miriam. Miriam doesn't necessarily seek power and makes no appeal to the power of the people. However, she is clearly very popular. When she challenges Moses' authority earlier in the book, God punishes her with leprosy, meaning that she has to remain outside the camp for 7 days. But, the Torah tells us, the people then do not move on from their place until Miriam is ready to rejoin the camp. They stand in solidarity with her. Miriam is clearly tuned in to what the people want and need. Her primary role in the wilderness, indeed, is providing them with water. And the Midrash tells us of a magical well that would miraculously follow her around in the wilderness. Water is the most crucial thing in sustaining life, which is why when Jewish tradition talks about water, it means both literal sustenance and the wisdom of Torah. When Miriam dies, there is not only a crisis because her well has run dry, but there is a crisis of wisdom and understanding. Some speculate that the reason Moses deals with the crisis of the water so badly is that he has lost the wisdom of his sister. Thus, neither Moses nor Korach really comprehend what is required to serve the common good. Korach appears to be a mindless populist, and Moses is well-intentioned, but ultimately he undervalues the key needs of the people. Miriam is the one who sees these things, and through stories of her in the Torah, we see flashes of true democracy. She derives her authority from the fact that she represents the most fundamental needs of the people. And she has some effect, even if she holds no formal power. And so as we go into this weekend, whether it's the Euros or the G7 or whatever particular leadership roles that we hold and the responsibilities we have to those we lead, let us hope that those who assemble will do so in the spirit of Miriam, looking not to take power, but to serve with an awareness of what must be done to improve the lives of those they represent. Shabbat Shalom.
We will turn to page 310 now and rise if you're able and comfortable for the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. And on page 313, we read together, Al ken nekaveh lecha Adonai Eloheinu, lirot mehira b'tiferet uzecha, v'ha'avir gilulim min ha'aretz, v'ha'elilim karot yikaretun,
לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, וכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך,
להפנות אליך כל ראשי הארץ, יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל, כי שותפים כולנו בתיקון עולמך, כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד. כך כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר,
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. Erev is a community built on a foundation of mutual care in which we share one another's joys and sorrows and accompany one another through life's journeys. This week, as we turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 316, we regret to announce the deaths of Ruth Austin, mother of Claire and Daniel, Caroline Berkeley, wife of Miles and sister of Loretta, Angela Lando, mother of Karen and Jeanette, and Jeffrey Wilson, husband of Marilyn, father of Sophie, James, and Annabelle. To all those who are in their first pangs of grief, we wish happy memories and long life and comfort at this time. And may those who are marking in the time of Shiva or the Shoshim or Shana of the time since the death of a loved one, we wish you comfort and the idea that your loved ones will be a blessing through their memory. And we mark the yard sites today of those who we once loved. We think particularly of Gustav Arnold, Lillian Cedar, Pearl Cobb, Jack Collins, Joseph Crown, Anne Freeman, Denise Friedman, Marianne Games, Richard Gelbhart, Pamela Goldman, Sheila Goodman, Lily Langleben, Malcolm Lee, Ari Merkribs, Wolf Peterman, Sylvia Phillips, David Rose, Esther Rose, Alison Rosenfeld, Judith Schall, Victor Silverman, Rabbi Uriel Smith, Samuel Smith, Philip Taylor, Phoebe Tobe, and Sissy Wise. May their memories all be for a blessing as I invite those who are mourning to join me with leading the Kaddish on page 316. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon. Uv'chayei dichol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit alei v'yit halal shemei di kudasha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata di amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom mimromav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol ha'olam v'imru. Amen.
And to all those who are in mourning, we wish zichronam livracha, that the memory of that person be for a blessing to you. We are beginning another busy weekend at Erev, another busy Shabbat. Tomorrow morning, you can join us at 9 o'clock for the bat mitzvah of Zara Glazer, who will be having her bat mitzvah upstairs in the youth hall with Cantor Tamara, and you can join her on Zoom. At 9:15, there is a shiur with myself. If you'd ever wondered whether the sun is able to stand still, you will maybe get the answer. Then at 10:30, you can join Cantor Tamara and Rabbi Colin in the Beit Tefillah online as they lead their online service. And at 10:30 in parallel, there'll also be the Kolot service, which is both in person and online. There are, I think, still a few spaces available. So if you have decided you've had a last-minute change of heart and you would love to join us tomorrow and sample our first Shabbat in our new marquee, we would love to see you. Rabbi Colin is doing the sermon in both spaces. And if you thought that was the end of our busy Shabbat, it is not. In the afternoon, you can join Rabbi Elliot as he helps Elijah Newman read Torah for the first time as he marks his bar mitzvah with his community. We are going to prepare for Kiddush on page 452. And as we do so, we're going to sing the words of Psalm 133 once again, how good and how pleasant it is that we are able to start being together in a different way. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
How sweet it is
to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is
To be together on this day. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Vayechulu hashamayim v'ha'aretz v'kol tzva'am. Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvihi melachto asher asa. Vayishpat bayom hashvihi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvihi vayikadesh oto. Kivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecha letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. From us in the Beit Tefillah, Shabbat Shalom. We are going to unmute you all as we do every week so you can wish one another Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Greet each other.